Okay, Hannah, so this is page 3 and 4, powers of products and quotients. So what we just did on the first video, you're gonna need to know in order to do this. So this is basically the same work, but now you're taking a power of whatever you just did. So you're actually multiplying the exponents now because you're taking the work and you're raising it to a certain power. So you're gonna like take this exponent and multiply it by those two. All right, so let's take a look at number 1. So we have 3w to the third power times 2w taken to the second power. So we're gonna solve for what's inside the parentheses first. So we can pull these two out. So 3 times 2, and then that's going to be times 3, or w to the third power times w. And this is all squared. So simplified, we've got 6. And then what do we know about these? We're just going to add those exponents. So now we have w to the 4th power squared. So this is where it gets a little tricky. Now you got to take this exponent and put it through to the constant or the number. So 6 squared is 36. And then I'm also going to take this squared, right? Because what this represents right here is w times w times w times w. And you're taking that squared. So you're taking w times 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 w. So how many w's is that? So this right here equals w times 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 w. So how many w's do I have? 4 times 2 is w to the 8th power. All right, let's do another one of those multiplication ones. So let's move on to number 2 because that's all multiplication 2. So I have 9 times c to the 5th power times z taken to the 4th power. So like another way of saying this is 9c to the 5th power times z times, right? So then to simplify this, because I don't have to combine anything on the inside, I'm literally just pushing this through to my 3 terms here. So 9 to the 4th power equals 6,561. And then you're taking 5, or c to the 5th power times 5 to the 5th power times 5 to the 5th power times 5 to the 5th power. So that's c to the 20th power. And then you're taking z, how many z's do you have here? Z to the 4th power, right? So that one was pretty simple. You're just pushing this exponent through. So instead of adding the exponents like we did when we just are multiplying them, we're actually taking the power, raising it to the power. So you're actually going to multiply the exponents now when we're taking an exponent to an exponent, or an exponent to a power of something. So let's go ahead and do number 3, which is 4y squared times d to the 6th power, all taken to the power of 2. So another way of saying this is 4y squared d to the 6th power times 4y squared times d to the 2nd power, right? So if you were to combine those all or push this through to my 3 terms, I would have 4 squared, which is 16. Y squared squared would be y to the 4th power, and then d to the 6th power squared. So you're not taking where is this? T, y. This is number 3. Yeah. You're not actually taking like 6 squared. You're just doing 6 times 6 or 6 times 2. Because if you were to actually write this out, you would have 4y times y times y times y, right? Or 4 times 4. And then times d times, is this 6? Yeah, 6th power, times d times d times d times d, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times d times d times d times d times d times d. So how many y's do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many d's do you have? 12. So you're not actually like squaring the 6, you're just multiplying it by the exponent. So it's 2 times 2 and then 6 times 2. All right, let's do, I'm gonna skip to some of these. So we did 3, now let's skip over here to number 7 because I wanna do practice with the quotients. So number 7 is 3 to the 5th power over 3 taken to the 3rd power. So we have to do that work inside the parentheses first. So because this 3 on top has more exponents than this one does, I'm going to do 3, 5 minus 1, all taken to the 3rd power. So this is equivalent to 3 to the 4th power times 3, right? So that's 3 to the 12th power. And you could solve for that if you wanted to, if you have an exponent on your calculator. Let's see, 3, I know I do, but I've got to flip my around. So you just simplify, because it says simplify, so you can just keep it as that. But you could do 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, all the way up to 12 if you wanted to. All right, let's do number 8 together. 6 to the 6th power over 4 to the 4th power, all taken to the power of 3. So because this has more, 6 minus 4 to the 3rd power. So 6 to the 6th minus 4 to the 3rd power. So this gets simplified to 6 to the 2nd power to the 3rd power, or 6 squared to the 3rd power. And so what that is saying is 6 times 6, right? Times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6, right? So 6, so it could be simplified as 6 to the 6th power, right? And you can obviously find the answer to that if you want, or you can keep it in that form. All right, let's do number 9 together. And that is 2y to the 5th power over 5y, all taken to the 3rd power. Okay. So if you've got, I'm going to keep that 2 up there. Now this has more, so I'm going to do the subtraction up here. And then keep that over 5. This is all taken to the 3rd power. So then we've got, simplify this, 2 to the y to the 4th power over 5 all cubed, right? So now I got to take this power of 3 and push it through to all 3 of my terms. So 3 squared, or 2 squared is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8, y, and then this is y times y times y times y, taken another 3 times. So it's y to the 12th power over 5 cubed, which is 125. So that would be simplified. Now, I'm not sure these can be simplified. 3, 5, 25. I don't know if they have a greatest common factor, but you can leave it like this. All right, let's do another one of those. Ooh, number 10 looks fun. B over B squared times 3. All right, so what you could do is just push this through or simplify it inside. I would simplify it inside since that's what we've learned. All right, so this is like B over B times B. So those cancel each other out, right? So that would just be like, well, that I don't need it up here, so it would be B, B2 minus B1. So I've got B on the bottom, so it's really 1 over B cubed. So then if I bring this through, what is 1 times 1 times 1? It's still 1. And what's B times B times B? B cubed. So this one's tricky because you got to leave that 1 up there, right? It's not just b cubed, it's 1 over b cubed. So like if you found out that b equaled 2, it would be 1 over 2 cubed, which would equal 1 over 8, not 8. So that one was tricky. All right, so let's do 2 more of these division ones just to make sure you know it. I know the multiplication ones are a little bit easier, but let's do 11 and 12 of these. So we've got 11, which is h to the 6th power over h to the 3rd power, all squared. Okay, so because this has more up here, I'm going to just cancel out the denominator and say h6 minus 3 all squared. So then that equals h to the 3rd power squared. So that's h to the 3rd power plus h to the 3rd power, really, or h times h times h times h times h times h. So this is equivalent to h to the 6th power. All right, let's do number 12, hg over 4h to the 6th power over 2. All right, let's simplify inside here. So I have 8, I'm going to draw this out, 8g over 4, or 8 times g, and this is 8 times g, or 4 times 4 times g times g, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times g. All right, so 8 divided by 4 is 2, so 2 goes on top, and then this cancels itself out, so I have 5 g's left over, and that's all over 2, right? So then I would push that through to both, and so I would have 4 over g to the 10th power, right? Is that right? Yes. So if I didn't want to have to draw this out, I could very simply just say, well, 8 divided by 4 is 2. That's going to stay on top. And then because this has more down here, I'm going to do the g work down here. So g minus g to the 6th power minus g to the 1st power, all to the 2nd power. So then that gets simplified of 2 over g to the 5th power squared. And then I square the 2, which is 4, and I square the 5, or g to the 5th power, which is g to the 10th power. Pretty cool, right? All right, so we did most of the ones on this page 1. So why don't you go ahead and give all of these a shot on page 4. It's all multiplication on the left and all of the division or the quotient work on the right. And just make sure you email me or Google chat me if you have any questions on how to do this.